All right, welcome to the Fall Report. We're reporting on a pre-Snow Goose season right now. It's early February. We're actually in the midst of trying to get everything ready because they've started showing up early. We got similar to last year. We've got a little warm-up or whatnot, and there's already birds trickling in. And I don't think all the birds actually left. I think a bunch of them stayed in the Finger Lakes, so they're already starting to hit our area. So we're kind of in hurry up and get this done mode. So what are we up to this year? Jason Mosick, actually.
How you doing?
Jason is my right-hand man for the Snow Goose season. We take about a week and a half off every year.
Yeah, and you usually get a couple more days than me on the beginning and on the tail end of it, but I usually get about a week off to help pick things up and put things down.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of that. So we actually used to chase them all over the place, and now we're older, have less flexibility, so and want to maximize.
It's a more comfortable hunt.
Yeah, for sure. We want to maximize the time we have in the field. So I don't know, last 6-7 years we have been setting up on a hilltop. We built a 24-foot hard-sided blind. We set out a big rig of about 1,500 full bodies, and we sprinkle in some socks here and there for motion on the right days, all the other crazy Snow Goose tools you can imagine. We got them. And then we have a club, the Game Hogg Hunt Club, and a bunch of friends from over the years, family, all come up and hunt with us. We get lunch every day, hot lunch brought in.
Yep.
Jason's responsible for that. And we generally have a really good time. Last year was a bit of a bitch with the weather.
Last 2 years have been a grind where they push through early and, you're fighting to get what you would get in previous years, but nothing we couldn't handle.
Yeah, well, until you called me last year and you're like, Mike, I'm stuck in the middle of the field.
There was an incident with a snowdrift, and
you didn't even make it home that night.
I made it home that night. The four-wheeler almost spent the night in the field, but the night before we ended up, I ended up getting a hotel room up there. Mike had to work his regular job, and I took some buddies out, and it just buried us. It was unbelievable how much snow fell, but everybody made it out safe. Nothing that we couldn't handle with the snow melting in a day or two and unburying everything that it buried. But
Luke and I shoveling it out for 2 straight days after.
2 days
afterward.
It was horrible, but at the time, man, it was tough. But we made it through it.
Yep. So going up the setup here in a couple days, you want to tell everybody what the big upgrade is for this year?
Well,
there
have been complaints from certain people about the comfort of the seating, and buckets weren't cutting it on my aging tailbone. Nah, it's no good anymore. So I had bought some blind chairs. I bought a couple of them for me and my father, who came up, who's also, got an aging tailbone. And all of the buddies that we brought up there were like, wait, why do I have to sit on that and you get to sit on that? And I was like, So Mike upgraded to...
that was the club's big purchase.
Blind chairs for everybody to sit on, and hopefully they all like it. And it's a nice creature comfort upgrade for the year.
Yep. Got backs,
got
swivels.
Seat backs, swivels. Nice padded seat for your... Oh, it's not padded, but it's way better than a bucket. I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah.
It's still up in the air for me. I'd rather buy more decoys than comfortable chairs, but
you'll like them. Trust me.
Yeah, I think just we're sitting there also 12 hours a day, right? We're up there at before sunrise, and we hunt till sunset most days. So,
and I don't know how you do it. I go stir crazy, but you go up there and you just stay in that blind, and you're constantly, in and out, moving things around. But I got to stretch my legs. Like, I got to get out and walk around and check socks or do something every couple of hours, because there are some times. So I have no problem going to get lunch, and I go get whatever for everybody who's up there, and then come back and we get the dog a burger, and River's always so happy to see me when I come back. But it's a grind to be up there day after day, 13, 14 days in a row, and not leave that blind. So I give it to you for
no place I'd rather be. That
you
never know what's gonna happen. You guys all want to hey, let's go out, take a pee break, move this, move that, and that when do the geese always come?
Yeah, well, I think over the years I might have missed maybe a half dozen birds get shot going to get lunch, like that 12 to 1 o'clock. We drive 20 minutes into town and grab some food from the local diner and then shoot right back. I don't think I've missed any crazy, shoots with tons of birds that, so I really don't mind. The peace of mind is stretching my legs and going
listening
to get that stuff.
Pearl Jam on Sirius XM that's always blasting at the end of the day when I turn my truck on.
Mike does the EDM, so it's a fun little razz. I turn it to Pearl Jam radio, and
I just hear Eddie Vedder screaming at me when I turn the truck on every day when it's time to go home.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to we got everything loaded. We're going to start shuttling everything up there in the next couple days here. Hopefully, it usually does take us 2 or 3 days to get everything set. And then we'll be in business here about a month early. We're about a month ahead of the normal schedule. So.
Christmas trees have all been picked up.
Yeah.
We used to go out in cornfields and pick stalks of corn and ditch grass. And the second anybody brushes up against them in the blind, it falls off. So the trees have all been picked up from Santa Claus on the side of the road. And I've got them stashed on a trailer at my house. So a lot hardier, better hide. They don't break off and stuff like they used to. So those are ready to go up. We make 3 or 4 runs up there with the gear and the trees and the blind and the decoys and the trailer and the 4-wheeler and the
we do that is a kind of a change. About 3 years ago we went to the Christmas trees, and the blind has hog paneling all around it, and we're able to stuff all sorts of vegetation in. But those Christmas trees have really been a really good addition, and we have an Instagram, I guess, series of posts about the blind. Mm-hmm. It's at Game Hogg Mike on Instagram. You can go back in time and check it out if you're interested. But we go through the blind, how we do the trees and everything like that. It's worthwhile if you're doing this as well. But with that, we'll open it up to questions from our press that's here today.
Yep. Hey everybody, it's Luke, Junior Game Hogg Associate. I'm going to be asking the questions today. So first question, what are you guys looking forward to this season?
Go ahead.
Through the last few years, we've gotten to become friends with people that this is like the only time of year you get to see them, and we'll text all year long, at least once a week, with different buddies and different groups of people, and everybody kind of makes it a priority to set a couple of days aside to come up and hang out with us. And I really enjoy seeing friends that you make throughout the years and retelling old war stories and, coming up with new, stories that you're going to tell next year. So I really enjoy the social aspect of it. On top of shooting snow geese is wicked fun too. That's a bonus.
Yeah. Snow geese. I don't know, man. As I get older, the social aspect of it is more important, because
the comfort,
like you said,
the social aspect.
Comfort I don't really care about. I'd lay out there in Tyvek all day long and wait for the right opportunity. But you just hit that age. Like when we're younger, used to be 8 or 10 of us would take 8-10 days off, and we'd just go wild and we'd move every day, every other day. We were setting, pulling, doing everything. It was a big group with the same group of guys would hunt all season. You'd see everybody more than you wanted to, right? By the end of the season, you were ready to kill each other. But now, you're really like lucky to see some of your good
Yeah.
friends for 2 or 3 days a year. And like you said, we have such a good time in those 2 or 3 days with or without geese that we do like have these group texts that go all year long. You're BSing about good times that you had, stuff you want to do,
Upgrades
life
for
in
next
general.
year. Yeah, what you're up to throughout the day and whatever.
Yeah, I would say like the people and just spending that time together, because you do get into some wild conversations when you're together for 12 hours a day, and you know
3 or
maybe
4
like
days in a row.
maybe like 4 to 8 groups of geese are coming through a day and normal, so like there's a lot of extra time to sit there and BS. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
Okay, all right. So, based on the current situation, birds staying around the Finger Lakes area, some not leaving. How do you guys think the season will be this year?
I'll take this one to start, and feel free to jump in. So, if we think back, long time now, into the mid 2000s when this conservation season started in the Atlantic Flyway, we had 1.1, 1.2-ish million snow geese, and they got their butts kicked the last couple years from avian influenza, and now we're down into that 550,000 to 600,000 range. So I've heard. So one, that has made it tough for the last few years. The weather has made it tough for the last few years, and given this warm up and us hustling to get up there, I know we're gonna get smacked with some kind of snowstorm. Probably as soon as we get set up, we'll get some snow, and it's gonna drive birds back. It's gonna hold them up. It's gonna just make things chaotic. So that makes me nervous. The fact that another thing that has changed the last few years is the winters. We just haven't got as much snow in general in the normal part of the winter. It hasn't been as cold. Things haven't frozen over for as long term. So we've seen more snow geese winter here in the Finger Lakes. So
yeah, and then when you do get snow, you get a foot dumped on you and it melts the next day.
Yeah.
So it's not really, pushing and driving birds to one area.
Yeah, but I think I guess I'm always optimistic because I love to do it and I want to think the best. But I think reality is I don't think this year is going to be a slam dunk given the numbers in general, and that so many birds have wintered in the Finger Lakes, and those birds are likely to just jump our area. That's the birds that are coming up from the Chesapeake Bay and Pennsylvania that don't stop over in the Finger Lakes. That's where we make our money. The ones coming out of the Finger Lakes, if they leave, in the late afternoon, sure, we got a good chance at them. But if they get up in the morning, feed, and then say, hey, it's a good day to go, they just bounce right by us. So it's a great spot to be in, but a tough spot to be in given some of the more recent Mother Nature changes.
Yeah, changes in the weather.
Yeah, so fingers crossed.
Yep.
Always optimistic.
Always. On top of Jason's aging tailbone and the new chairs, do we have anything else new for this spring coming up?
Not new for this year.
Yeah.
But last year we added a foot to the top of the blind because people were bumping their heads. So that's not new this year, but relatively new.
Yep. And I know a few years previous added some more decoys.
Yeah. No real new decoys this year. I feel like the trailer is at a max at this point in time with the plastics. We could add more socks, but it's a rare day when we put out 2,000 extra socks on top of the 1,500 full bodies we already got. So we didn't make any investments there. But I don't think there's anything new really as far as gear goes.
Okay. How long have you guys been chasing snows?
I know the exact day.
All right, well, when did you start? Tell us about when you started, because I'm trying to think hard about
It's
how long
actually
ago that
a
was.
funny story. Mike had some graffiti on his truck. It happened at the bowling alley.
Oh, that's when I had the Suburban.
Do you remember this?
Yeah. Let's not name names because
Nope, I'm not. Nope, nope. Well, I'll name my daughter.
There was some
I'll name my
suspects.
daughter.
There was some suspects
I'll name my
involved.
daughter who noticed it when she was getting babysat, and that's how I met Mike. Was we moved into the neighborhood, and all I did was grow up deer hunting with my dad and grandpa. My daughter was getting dropped off, and somebody had taken.
My wife babysat his kids after he moved into the neighborhood.
Yeah. And that's how I ended up meeting Mike. Was my kids were babysat by Mike's wife.
I went to school. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew I wasn't babysitting any kids.
I got ahead of myself. You can edit that out, whatever. But somebody took a Sharpie and F you Mike Bard on the back of his Suburban. But my daughter was young. She's probably 8 or 9 years old. She goes, Mike, go look at your truck. And he was like the nicest guy. I'm so sorry your daughter had to see that. I really apologize. And it's horrible. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't know if I could get over that. Me being a truck driver, I sometimes have a salty mouth. But the only way I could think you could make it up to me is taking snow goose hunting. And he did. He goes, all right, we're going to take you, but you can't tell anybody where we're going. And we're only going to hunt the morning. We are only going to, and then you have to stay and help pick up. And I was like, all right. Shot my first snow goose. And I think that's in the top 5 of best days of snow goose hunting I ever had.
The bug bit you.
That was March 16th of 2012.
Okay. So I think I got probably
8 years on that.
Yeah, maybe like somewhere like mid 2000s I started.
Yeah, give us a little backstory, Mike.
Mid 2000s, the crew of guys, Murphy, Arliss, Zega, Bobby, a handful of others, we didn't have a conservation season, but we were just never ready to give up on duck season, Canada goose season being over. So the snow goose season then did go into middle of February maybe. So we bought some decoys. It was a trash rig. We just had all sorts of whatever cheap stuff we could get at the time because we were young. And we hunted our nuts off, man, for these things. And if we shot any, it was the best day ever, and then I met some folks through other things I did in the industry, and I had a chance to go out and work at Habitat Flats when they were getting started. First couple of years there, I was out there, and I learned so much. I learned just a ridiculous amount about snow goose hunting, snow geese in general, and I took that knowledge, and just so happens we got a conservation season in that time period here, so I was able to use some money I made out there guiding, come back, put that towards decoys, and we were, I would say, one of the first crews around here that had a legit rig at the beginning of the conservation season, and we just walloped them. Yeah. Like, they weren't used to being hunted that time of year. There weren't a lot of people doing it, and the handful of folks that were doing it just weren't well equipped. So we really take advantage of that. Right up through when you started hunting with us, I mean, sadly, I remember the day you came, and we were quitting for the year at that point because I think we only shot 82 days in a row. And then you came, and how many we shoot? 30
I think we shot 34 that day.
Yeah.
And again, that's probably one of the best days I've been up there. I mean, it's 2 bands and And then we were angry. We picked up at lunch, and I was like, that was the greatest thing ever. Yeah. And, Mike, I've always joked around with him. He's like the drug dealer waterfowl to me. Like, he took me on my first goose hunt and set the hook and fed me a little worm. And I was like, yeah, oh, my God, this is the great. Because all I did was sit in trees. And, here we are.
I can do that. It's like it. I feel like we should have stayed that afternoon now. Like now with the way things are today. Or the
rest of the week.
If you today, in my opinion, are shooting 36 in a day, then that's a great day here in New York. I know there's a few guys out there that are really on top of their game, that are coming close to that on a daily
Yep.
basis, and I give them all the credit in the world.
Yep.
For they're on it right
It's
now.
a grind.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's a great day for us at this point in time. With the way things have changed and how we're approaching things. But I don't even know. Did we actually answer the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys covered that question pretty well. I would
All right,
say.
great. So,
Yeah,
we were just going down
so-
memory
Yeah.
lane.
No.
so.
No.
Yeah.
It's how do you get into it? Was
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
here we are.
Jason, Mike, and I, and some other people know you're absolutely obsessed with blue geese. What's the deal with that?
So it's just so random to see that many birds go through, and then there's one that's like the black sheep of the family. You know, like it's a color morph of the same bird of the same thing. And year after year after year, I'd go up and hunt with Mike, and you know, they would get a blue the day before, they'd get two the day after, and it never really happened for me for a few years, like 6 or 7 years. I was going up there and, you know, not all day, every day, 13 days in a row, but, you know, whenever I got the invite, and one day it finally came together where there was a blind full of dudes, and I think the kids across the street jumped some off of the field, and hundreds of them flew by, but one blue came out, and Mike goes, "Jason, you're up." And so, like, all the pressure is on me, and it was awesome. It was like I got buck fever on a blue goose, and it's still to this day my favorite waterfowl bird. I have probably 4 of them mounted at my house.
that was
now.
my
Yeah, I was
that was
gonna
my
say,
next
how many
question
do you-
for
you
you.
have
Was
a bunch mounted.
Yeah,
already.
no, like just the whole like randomness of what do we call it? The interphase ones?
Yeah,
where they're,
those
like,
are cool. That's different.
specked
too,
out
yeah.
like a speckle belly or just a eagle head, or even the juvies that are all gray. You know, just how cool the feathers are with the different color variations through them. They're 100% it for me. You know, and now that we've shot a few of them, it's like, okay, cool. You know, it's still favorite. Still
Yeah.
a favorite.
all right. What will make the season successful for you guys? You know, what's going to define a successful season for you this year?
I'll joke and say we all make it out alive, but at the same time, seriously, like to me, the older I get, the more safety is really on my mind all the time, especially when we're bringing our kids up there.
Yep.
Their friends sometimes, so there's a lot of novice hunters we bring up because everybody wants to shoot a snow goose, right? And so my kids talk about it with their friends and they want to come, and you know, you do get a lot of folks that are new, and the blind is so big, you can't be right next to everybody all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always the number one concern for me. But I think at the end of the season, if I can come back and say like, hey, of course everyone was safe, if we could average like 10 geese per hunt, that would be like the ultimate success
Sure.
for me. But as a secondary one, I'll take, you know, we shoot some geese and have a good time. But
Yeah.
I think 10 geese a day for me, like on an average, would be where I'd love to land.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether the people that you take up there have a good time and they're happy with it matters to me too. Whether it was worth it for everybody to do all this work, and when it does all come together and you see the smile on everybody's face, it definitely makes all the hard work worth it for me.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Good luck this spring. Yep.
All right. Appreciate
All right.
it, Luke. All right. Well, let's go pack shit up and we'll get up there and
Let's go shoot Whitey.
that'll do it. We'll check back in after the season and let you know how it went. Thanks.
See ya.